The Buzz would like to give a big thanks to iiNet for their support.
Actually haven't even opened the lid of my laptop. Hello and welcome to The Buzz, Australia's first social media TV show, coming at you live with all of the problems that go with live television. Great to have your company this evening. Joining me as always, my co-presenters Nikita Dixon and Paul Cook. Great guys to see you as always.
It's great to see you also.
It's very exciting, isn't it? Hey, we're going to get straight into it tonight because there's just so much that we want to cover and we're having problems getting through all of it. Let's take a look at what Australia's Tourism Bureau thinks Australia looks like. Well, that's nothing like Australia as far as I'm concerned. Folks, we can see what's trending now around the place, but I've got a couple in particular that I wanted to look at. One is in relation to Tourism Australia. They're under fire for a misleading scene in one of their new ads where there's a couple walking down the beach holding a bottle of wine. Apparently you can't do that in South Australia.
Well, it's on a particular part of Kangaroo Island, which is just off the coast of South Australia. It's a very popular island. It's known for its natural environment. It's very pristine. And some of the beaches, this particular beach they filmed the shot at with the wine, you can only go out with a ranger and you can't drink. And so they've shown you popping along with a bottle of wine, and people have obviously seen that and gone, hang on a minute, I know that beach, you can't drink there.
But is it just a little bit of, say, creative license that they're, you know, I mean, people know that there's rules and restrictions.
Or are they just a couple of hooligans?
Well, really, it could be anywhere. I tend to agree with you on this one, Jason. Really, can we just pretend when the Chinese come here, they can be disappointed when the ranger says, no, you can't drink, when they get here and they've already booked their holiday.
And they've spent all their money
we'll pretend
in our country.
Exactly right.
Now, the other big thing that's happened this week, in fact yesterday, was the transit of Venus. I've seen photos doing the rounds on Twitter already of the statue of Venus on a train, the transit of... no, never mind. If you see the video of it, it's actually quite an impressive thing that apparently only happens once or twice every 283 years or something.
I thought it was once every one. It's not going to happen again for another 105 years.
Wow, okay.
So long time. I don't think any of us will be alive, so...
Well, no, I hope we are.
Not unless there's an amazing development in medical science.
Well, you never know. I mean, things are progressing quite quickly.
Did you guys actually check it out? Were you able to see it?
No, it was cloudy.
Saw some photos.
You could see the live stream on NASA.
Yes.
There was a great one of the transit of Venus with obviously a plane in the foreground.
Oh, I saw that.
Sort of coming in underneath, which looked absolutely brilliant. But really, it's a black dot on a giant orange dot. It's probably hard to really get the significance of the occasion.
Although, interestingly enough, back in the day, the last time the transit happened, they were able to document it, even though they had much more primitive sort of telescopes and stuff than what we've got now.
Filters are the key, I think.
Moving right along.
Moving along.
Facebook, can it ever be used for good purposes? Well, I say it can. Facebook, on certain occasions, can even get you a taxi.
We know when our friends have checked into bars or clubs, but why not make it as easy to get our friends out from behind the wheel as it is to click like on said check-in? Just click on your friend's check-in, open a tab with a taxi company, and they'll receive a text message code redeemable for a safe ride home. That's right, you can be your friend's very own guardian angel.
But the question is, that's actually done by Smirnoff. Is it just a marketing exercise, or is this something that you and I could actually use for real to help our friends out? Nikita?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not huge on going out or anything like that, but I am huge on Facebook, and I do see a lot of people that are going out, and you know, I think I'd be pretty pleased if I was out and somebody called me a taxi.
Called you a taxi?
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is, the good thing is they could actually, so you check in at the nightclub, you're dancing and you're completely smashed, and your friend goes, I know what Nikita's like when she goes to this place. What I'm going to do is order her a taxi. I'm going to pay for the taxi. So you get this SMS that gives you a little like credit number. then you can walk out, get your taxi, taxi's paid for, get you home, which is probably a really good idea and smart marketing for
That would be
Snow.
a really good friend for me, because I know living about an hour and a half away, it costs about $100 to get home by taxi. Thanks, friends.
Let's stay on Facebook for the moment. It's more than a rumour. They're looking at reducing the age that people can sign up at. At the moment it's 13. They're talking about reducing that to below 13. Do you think that kids really have the emotional capability of dealing with some of the trolling and the harassment that can happen on Facebook?
Absolutely not. I'm really adamant on this one, because I know a lot of people that are under 13 that have got accounts now because their parents have signed them up or friends' parents have signed them up, and they just don't have that emotional, you know, and they post things like photos that show off where they are, where they live, and they just don't understand that this kind of stuff can be seen by the wider public. They think it's just their friends, and it's not.
I wanted to throw this at you. Your children, do they use social media?
No. I've got 4,
Yeah.
they're all under 12,
Yeah.
but even the eldest one at 12, Elizabeth, she does not use social media. She has been told that on her 13th birthday, we will introduce her to Facebook.
Yeah, it's like the drinking. You know, you don't want to drink. Well, I mean, I drank before I was 18, but you shouldn't, because then it's not as special. No, I didn't.
Yes, of course you didn't. The talk is, though, apparently parents will be able to have control. So what they'll be able to do is set who their friends are and the parameters of it. It won't be just we're opening up Facebook to younger people. There will be new parameters for the under 13s.
But there are alternatives to Facebook, aren't there? There's they're
there's
not really
Bebo and there's
social
other
media, but
stuff.
you've got websites like, for example, Club Penguin, which I've got on my screen now. There's places like Webkins, which I've also got up on the screen.
Yeah.
And one that's very popular with my kids, Minecraft. They absolutely love Minecraft. Now, these have social elements to them as well, but no apparent age limits.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when this starts, whether a company like Facebook will then have to take some sort of responsibility in preventative measures for things like cyberbullying and that sort of stuff as well, and predatory behaviour from other people.
Yeah, well, I don't think Facebook is the place for it to happen, because Mark Zuckerberg has already said that he doesn't set much store by privacy. And actually later on in the show we'll be talking about Yumi Now, which is a social network that is aimed at, I guess, that kind of age group, because they are focusing so much on privacy. So
it's a huge market, and Facebook need to find revenue, and it'll certainly add to that 900 million baseline they have.
All right, well, let me ask you all a question. Would you let Twitter decide what you're having for dinner? Well, it's here. Welcome back to The Buzz, Australia's first social media TV show. Don't forget, you can watch us live on the web anywhere in the world. wtvperth.com.au/watch. Now, Mr. Paul Cook, are we getting any tweets through what we've discussed so far?
We've had some. Rodney Olsen says, talking about the Australian tourism campaign, the pictures on that campaign aren't too bad, but that song will keep the tourists away. I completely agree. Also, a couple on Facebook. The age limit for Facebook, this is from Megan Hinckley, should be raised. I thought we were trying to encourage children to get off the computer and outside.
I entirely agree with Miss Hinckley.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a common problem we have with children, is they're spending too much time on the computer. But maybe they'll spend less time on Facebook and then more time outside.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, of course, we've got Twitter where people can reveal their personal information. But of course, Nikita, people can accidentally reveal personal and private information on Facebook as well.
Yeah, well, this happens all the time, and especially, I guess, now that timeline has been rolled out across the board to everyone. You know, you don't realise how much information people can access more easily now. One of the features I wanted to draw attention to was the maps function. Over the years, people would have tagged you in different things, in different locations, and you wouldn't have realised until recently that they're actually storing these in a map. So let's just hone in on a certain area. Here we go. 12 times I have checked into WTV, which to me says that, you know, somebody that's keeping an eye on me in a sinister sense and, you know, looking into my maps can find out, well, every Thursday night Nikita's at WTV.
So, but by default, that information is there. So you haven't activated that. It's...
Well, I mean, I can check myself
in.
Of course, I could check myself in and other people could check me in as well. But people don't really think about that, and they don't realise that a pattern could be forming. I know I've got another one
It's really a hitman's paradise, isn't it?
It is, and Facebook is turning into a bit of a hitman's paradise, as you say.
Well, we talked last week about that
Wonder if
bundle
there's
of
a cut
cash
in
that we
rates.
showed.
We did, and that's exactly the type of thing that you need to avoid. So what you need to do is, I'll see if I can do this quick enough, but you want to go into your activity log, and if you are concerned about the amount of check-ins that your friends are doing or that you're doing, and you're finding that there is a pattern and someone could find you, then you want to go in there, find, okay, well, here we go, at the buzz, and then just click here and go delete, hidden from timeline.
Oh, well, that's quite simple.
Yeah, and there is a way to delete all of them.
What about, is there any social media type website other than Facebook where they don't record this kind of information in the first place?
Well, this is what I was speaking about earlier. YouMe Now is a new social network on the block. Their main marketing campaign is that they're going to kill Facebook. It was
All right. Well, if they're going to kill it, let's have a look at that.
Alrighty.
They are watching you.
Well, if that's what YouMe Now really looks like, I'm a big fan. So how do we actually use it?
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of YouMe Now, but I can understand where the intentions come from. It was created by what have I just done? I've just gone and logged out. I would love to show you. All right, let's just explain it without any visuals. But the woman that's created it, she was a single mother, and she wanted to create a place where her children could go on and not have their privacy sacrifice. So Facebook, obviously, they sell their information off to advertisers for the top dollar. You know, they're constantly updating things, so your privacy settings could get reset at any time. This woman's created this new one so that they do keep your privacy. You know, that is the top priority. The only thing is, I guess they've rushed into it a little bit. There's, I guess, one redeeming quality to YouMe Now, and that's that you can import your Facebook photos, not all of them, but a good handful, which I haven't seen on too many other social networks so far. But I just think, you know, you have to pay for this service to use most of the features. It logs you, it's come up with this genius idea of logging you out after 6 minutes, which is super annoying. You know, I mean, if you haven't used it for 6 minutes, it will log you out and you have to log back in, which I found to be really annoying. And you just don't have much functionality.
So not highly recommended.
I wouldn't recommend it, but I think if you do have a small group of people, your children maybe, and they want to talk to their friends, get them on YouMe Now, perhaps give it a go. They do keep your privacy, you know, a top priority. So.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Yep.
Hey, if you are interested in devices that allow you to input your desires into the computer, you've probably seen things like the Kinect, where you can stand there and move your arms around and play games. Well, there's something that's come along that's even better than that, and also a heck of a lot cheaper. Check it out, it's called Leap Motion. We're talking about Leap Motion, an incredible new innovation in user input for a computer. So instead of actually having to use a mouse or a keyboard, we can now use a device about the size of an iPhone to actually have 0.01mm resolution input for games or whatever else you want to use it for. I reckon it's going to be a revolution in computing. Paul?
My thought is that we're going to see this not only in the gaming frontier, but we're also going to see it in areas such as the military. They would love this. Robotics is moving forward in leaps and bounds, artificial intelligence. Imagine if you put your highly trained soldier in a room, much like this one, in a suit maybe that interacted with a robot that was 13,000 miles away and could do all your bidding in an Afghanistan trench or something without them having to risk being shot. The positive side, of course, is medicine as well. I think maybe we'll see doctors. Imagine being able to operate on somebody in Sudan without the doctor having to be there, just having to have the hardware there that could do it.
Now, Nikita, so I'm going to be a total sexist pig here, but the other night my wife was doing her nails and she had wet nails, so she couldn't use the mouse or the keyboard. Now, this device would be perfect for her. Even with her wet nails, she can be doing all this kind of stuff. It's perfect.
Absolutely, sure.
See?
That's not sexist. I mean, do you wear nail polish?
I've got you in mind.
I wear nail polish, sure.
All right. Okay, moving right along. President Barack Obama, we know he can speak well. Did you also know that he can sing well?
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy.
but here's my number. So call me. Maybe it's hard to look right at you. Hey, but here's my number. So call me.
Well, there you go. That's Barack Obama doing his bit. Obviously not real, but there's lots of those sorts of videos on the net these days. I think they're quite clever.
There are lots.
It must take hours. It must take hours.
We have a couple of specific things. I mean, there's a lot trending around the world at the moment. The ones we wanted to cover this evening: United Arab Emirates dress code. This has been trending.
Well, it has been. There's some controversy. The United Arab Emirates is basically known as one of the more liberal of the Middle Eastern countries. However, much like Malaysia, recently there's been a bit of a push by some of the more hardline or some of the more conservative members of their society to put a stamp on dress codes and to say, for instance, if you're a tourist and you're going to the United Arab Emirates and you're wearing a bikini, that's bad, perhaps you shouldn't.
And people actually do that?
Well, you can, because as far as Middle Eastern countries goes, it's quite liberal in some areas. Now, they're saying that for you to not allow your tourists to wear the bikini at the beach is like the French not allowing the schoolgirls to wear religious bits and pieces to school. So they're kind of tying in the two. So there's a bit of controversy in that. And there's been many tweets for and against this week in regards to that
It is a tricky
stance.
one. I mean, you know, we respect their culture and we allow them to wear, you know, what they want to here. Why don't they share the same thing? But I still think that you should respect people's culture when you go to their country. So that's
I completely agree.
It's a tricky one.
Look, there's sexism. There's sexism all around the world, whether it's on social media or whether it's in real life. Now, Asus is a well-known technology company who may have tweeted something they shouldn't have tweeted. Let's have a look at that now. It's an unfortunate thing when Asus actually, well, in effect, make a sexist tweet. They talked about someone's bot.
It was pretty unprofessional. I mean, you know, fair play to the woman, great Ria, but I don't think that a professional company like Asus should be tweeting about it in
If
particular.
it was 1977, though, it would have been perfectly acceptable.
It would have been,
But are we being oversensitive? I mean, really?
Well, we are, and the other side of the coin is, I bet you if that was a guy and it had been a guy's bum and a girl had gone, oh, look at that great pair of something or other to do with the laptop, it would have been hilarious, we would have loved it, and it would have been funny and a bit cheeky. But because it's a girl, I think we still haven't quite got the balance yet.
No, not yet.
Now, guys, there is a bit of footage that we've got which is a little bit unpleasant. Unfortunately, it seems that a Shiite Muslim in Syria made the mistake of heading into Sunni Muslim territory, and they captured him and decided to inscribe something on the poor guy's forehead, and you can see from the footage here he's really not very happy about it, a very panicked look in his eyes. There's human rights abuses happening all over the place in Syria. Is that kind of thing ever acceptable for any kind of crime?
Absolutely not. No, I think Syria... It's hard to comment on this, but I really think that Syria is just a bit out of control at the moment.
It's videos like that, and there's far worse, that make me wish that I did have some sort of magical suit that I could put on. I could fly over to wherever they were made, find the particular perpetrators of that offence, and just punch their lights out.
But
like
I mean,
Man.
That's a really small intrusion on someone's human rights compared to what happened last week with Hula, and you know, all the kids getting killed, and they were murdered. They weren't. It wasn't just collateral damage. They had their knives, their throats cut.
Once again, we're just seeing stuff, which was a wonderful tweet, I think, was done by an activist here called Perth Tones, who said, "How can we be living in the 21st century and still be seeing war and these kind of atrocities? How have we not rid this from ourselves?"
Look, let's move along. Let's get off this topic. It's a nasty one. You can find the video online if you really want to. Let's lighten things up a little bit. Now, the iPad is such a well-designed tool that even cats know how to use it. Welcome back to The Buzz. Don't forget you can join us by using hashtag #TheBuzz on Twitter, or in fact Facebooking as well. Now, Paul, we've had some tweets come through.
Can we talk about Bob? Bob had a gay marriage. He was on The Circle this morning. I don't know if you'd seen it. Started off talking about Aboriginals, and then they questioned him about his thoughts on gays, and refused flatly refused to answer. That was interesting, worth having a look at if you get the chance. Also, Jason Jordan is tagged the buzz. Have you guys mentioned the LinkedIn password hack? Might be worth a mention. Millions of passwords were hacked and passed on for LinkedIn.
Well, I changed my password today. Maybe that's the tip for the rest of you as well. If you're a LinkedIn user, whether or not you believe your password has been hacked, go and change it. All right, let's talk about Spotify, Nikita.
Yeah, well, if you haven't been tuning into the interwebs lately, you might not have heard that Spotify got launched in Australia a few weeks ago. Now, Spotify is an awesome app, and you can get it on your iPhone and your iPad. So if we can just bring up my iPad now, essentially it's kind of like a nice hybrid between iTunes and Last.fm. So you can pretty much bring up whatever song is in your head and stream it through Spotify. So let's just, what I like as well is that it's got predictive text. So let's just bring up Suck It and See by the Arctic Monkeys.
But Suck It and Smell.
Yeah, so as we go, and then eventually it will go, oh, here we go. Suck It and See by the Arctic Monkeys. And then it will bring up the album, all the different songs. You can press play and play whatever one of these songs your heart desires. So I'm just going to pause that because I think my volume is turned up.
So as far as a 2-minute review of Spotify goes,
yeah, let's wrap it up really quickly.
There is a cost to it, but you pretty much have access to all the music in the world.
Well, you can get the free service. The free service does have some audio advertising in the middle of it, so if you don't mind listening to a bit of advertising, you can still get all the music that you want. The $9.95 premium version is pretty well worth getting because you get all of your music and it caches for you, so you can actually listen to it on your iPad, your iPhone, and you can listen to it even when you're not connected to the internet.
I like that. So it covers it offline.
Sorry, is it a once-off fee or a...
It's a monthly fee of $9.95.
Spotify.com if you'd actually like to take a look at that. All right, we've got to move along because we're almost completely out of time. Tim Bailey is a very well-known weatherman around the place. He's a guy that likes to get right into the middle of it.
As you can see, the wind just picking up. The next 2 hours will be critical across Sydney. Heavy rain falling and brollies breaking. We'll see you again later in the bulletin.
Live television, you've got to enjoy it, don't you? Well, Tim Bailey, in fact, you can follow him on Twitter. Nikita, you've got his Twitter name there, I believe?
I do, yes. Tim Bailey is DailyBailey10 or at DailyBailey10 if you'd like to check him out on Twitter. Definitely find him, he tweets all the time and it's well worth listening to. But let's have a look at some other people that are on Twitter that you can check out.
Oh, that scaly-faced looking bloke in the background there, that'd be Joe Hildebrand.
That is Joe Hildebrand. Now, he tweets about 50 times a day, so if you want your news feed clogged up by awesome stuff, go right ahead. If not, then perhaps not. But yeah, Joe Hildebrand talking all things news, definitely talks back to anyone that tweets him. So get on it, follow him, absolutely.
I know that guy, that'd be Joe
Hockey, our shadow treasurer. Follow him as well. He's another one that seems to tweet about, you know, at least 10 times a day. He very political. If you want to know what he thinks about anything that's going on with Labor, he is not afraid to speak his mind.
Is he really tweeting, or is it Team Joe Hockey like Julia Gillard?
You know what? I don't think he has a team. I think he's doing it himself because he says things like, "I've been saying it for ages. You just haven't delivered a surplus. That's the problem. Just bigger deficits every year." And that was to Wayne Swan.
And it's basically that tweet 50 times a day.
Now,
yeah, exactly. It is basically that tweet 50 times a day. So if you want to hear about how terrible Labor is 50 times a day, follow Joe Hockey.
Before we go out tonight, I did want to bring everybody's attention to the fact that Edward Kill, otherwise known as the Trollololololol Man, sadly passed away. I believe it was yesterday. But if you want to check that video out, just type in Trollololololol in YouTube and you'll be able to find it. It's a very interesting video, would you not say?
Very interesting.
I think it's hilarious.
That's a nice word for it.
Yeah,
it's looking for the similarities between his hairstyle and yours, Jason.
Oh, come on. Be nice.
You could be the new troll guy.
Oh, I'd like to do that one day. All right, so look, we've had a few tweets through tonight as well saying that I've dressed down this evening, and yes, that's true. I'm in a short sleeve shirt and a t-shirt tonight instead of wearing a sports jacket. Interested in your thoughts? That's what this live television is all about. If you use hashtag thebuzz, let us know what you think of what we're wearing this evening. We'd be very, very interested to find out your thoughts, and also if there's anything at all that you would like us to cover here on The Buzz, we'd love to hear from you. Guys, it's been a pleasure once again to have you on the show. Paul, we can see you again on Saturday night.
Or Saturday night, 96 FM, 80s requests.
Listen in,
Tune in.
absolutely. And you're at IINet doing what you normally do.
Absolutely. Tune in.
All right, folks, we'll catch you again this time next week. This has been The Buzz. It's been great to have your company. The Buzz would like to give a big thanks to IINet for their support.